What's up guys? What's up cycling fanatics? Today it's time for a new Q&A. The Q&A of July. I'm in Los Angeles, California, and you guys have been sending me in a lot of new questions. I'm gonna go to the comment area of the video of last month and see if I can answer some more questions. James Dean asks, if I do a training ride in the morning during my intermittent fasting period and it's a long, hard ride, will I still not eat while on the bike? Okay, James, if it's longer than maybe like an hour and a half, I'll start eating. So if it's going to be a 4-hour ride or whatever, then I'll start eating during the ride. If it's a little bit shorter interval training, I'll start eating right after the ride. Ronald Meyer, are you thinking about doing triathlons in the near future? No, I don't like to swim and I don't like walking. Dennis Bos, he asked me a question in Dutch, but he says, if you go to the Alps or to the mountains to train, is it true that you need to be riding on your inner chain ring in the weeks before to get used to it? Or is this just a myth? I don't think so. It really doesn't matter, because if you be riding in your inner chain ring for weeks, you don't really push hard. And when you go to the mountains, it goes up and you need to push very hard. So I think that's the worst thing you can do. If you live in a flat country, it's better to go hard on intervals and get used to pushing hard on those pedals before you go to the mountains. Because in the mountains, you only have one choice, and that's to push hard. APA X 1981. What are your tips about getting comfortable on a race bike? Apparently it took him 12 months to get comfortable. My tip is, don't buy a racer bike. If you just start road cycling, check out a bike that's a little bit higher in the front, so you don't have to go all the way down in the beginning. The first couple of years, at least the first year when you're not used to being on a road bike, the handlebar is very low. So get a bike that's Get a bike that is more comfortable. It will be easier to get used to the low handlebars. Here's another question. What's your resting heartbeat? I measure my heartbeat every day, and it varies between 33 beats a minute and maybe 50. So sometimes I wake up and I check my heartbeat and it's only 35 or 36. So that's pretty low. Nicholas Gizettis, are you flying to Finland anytime? I don't think so. I don't have any plans to go there yet. Peter Tojsavlejcik, do you play video games? I don't have time to play video games. Vetboy Schmo, do you spend enough time in the plane to have the benefits of the altitude for cycling? That's a very interesting question, and I have thought about it. The pressure altitude of the plane is going to be somewhere between 4 and maybe 7,000 feet. So you are on an altitude, but it's only for 8 to 10 hours, so it's pretty short. Sometimes I sleep on the plane and then I will be sleeping in this altitude, so it's almost like sleeping in an altitude tent. But the thing is, it's only twice a week. I think the effects are very, very minimal because the altitude is not high enough. I think you should be at least, like 3,000 meters or higher, so that's 10,000 feet. So we're only half up that altitude in the plane. I don't think it's a benefit. If one thing, it's going to be a negative influence because it just messes up with your hydration level because the air is very dry. Just sitting on a plane too long is never very good for your health. Ryan van Arkel, how tall are you and how much do you weigh? I'm 1 meter 86, I weigh 85 kilos. Also, how many languages do you speak? Well, I'm pretty good in Dutch and English, and I speak a little bit of French and German. And I know ni hao, which is Chinese, hola, that's Spanish, dos vidania, that's Russian. Grüß Gott, Austria. Good day, mate, Australian. 9. Alex van Waveren, what is your favorite pro team? I don't know. I don't have a favorite. The White 117, what is your favorite recovery meal and how many calories do you usually have in it? I use this sort of stuff, recovery drinks. How many calories is it? 130. That's not much, but usually I eat, when I do a very hard training, I'll do a recovery shake right after the training and then I'll start eating. But it can be anything, depends on what I feel like. Usually I eat oatmeal and bananas, and then to get some proteins, gonna be maybe bread and eggs, or tuna, or just a big bowl of pasta, whatever works. And how much calories? Well, sometimes I go to Panda Express here and it's 2,500, so a lot. Tuny UK asked me, what are your plans for 2018? I haven't set out my plan yet, but I will be racing in Elite next year. He wants to know, how often do I change my water bottles? Sometimes they get a bit dirty on the inside, they get black, brown. That's when I change them. Wout de Velder, he says, I'm 175 and I weigh 72 kilos. Should I first lose some weight or just keep up building stamina and lose weight in the winter? Build up your stamina. First of all, you're not that heavy, I think. Then second, how are you gonna lose your weight? Just keep training as hard as you can. Reduce your calories a little bit and the weight will go away. Second, if you're racing, it's not a good idea to lose weight. It's better to do that off season. Adrian Lau, what kind of rider would you consider yourself? Sprinter, climber, all-rounder? I'm definitely a sprinter that doesn't do very bad on climbs. Time trial, I don't know, I've only done 2, but I went okay. So maybe all-round, but sprinting is I think my best part. Daniel Sarmas. Hi, could you give us an example of what your interval training, what kind of interval training you do? 30 seconds on and 30 seconds off, question mark. I've never done 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, because I used to do longer intervals because I was training on climbing, because I was training for the Marmot. So I don't do that much interval actually. But I will be doing it from now on because now I'm focusing more on these shorter races. Evil M3. Do you ever train on an indoor trainer? Yes, I do in the winter when the weather is shit and it's raining outside because I don't like rain. Torben Sander. If you are a strong rider and then get some extra muscle, does your power to weight ratio still increase? No, it doesn't. If you get stronger and more heavy, your power to weight ratio will always decrease. Always. Sprinters have a terrible power to weight ratio when it comes to the climb. But their peak power is very high. So if you're going to be more heavy, if you're going to train on strength and power, if you're going to be working out in the gym, you'll get stronger, your sprint will be better, but your climbing is going to decrease. Unless you are like super skinny and you don't have any muscle at all and you train to get a bit stronger, then maybe it will increase. Depends on what your starting point is. Matthijs Lohman, what kind of tattoo do you have on your back? I noticed in your FTP test video. Yeah, I've got a tattoo on my upper back. It's 2 wings and a front chainring of a BMX bike. Because BMX has been my life for 25 years and I still love it. I don't get to do it anymore, but yeah, it's my life. David 8L. Will you switch to the Boeing 787 when KLM retires the 747? KLM is going to be flying the 747 for another maybe 4 years. So by that time I'm probably going to be transferred to the 737 on European flights. But afterwards I'll come back and I'll be on the Dreamliner and the 777. Hilco Bast wants to know where he can find information about which races I'm riding. I post those on my Facebook page. So I've got an athlete page and I post on the page where I'm riding and when. Check that out. Georgie Stock. What category of racing are you? In the Netherlands, the categories are different than in the USA. In the USA, I'm Cat 2, racing mostly Pro 1-2 races. Then in the Netherlands, I race in, it's called amateurs. So there's elite, amateurs, and then sports class. And the amateurs are the second level below the pros. I think it's about Cat 3. Samuel Bartelings, why do you do your videos in English? Because I have a lot of viewers that are not from the Netherlands, so if I talk English, everybody can understand me. Dwan Johnson, is it good to have a look at average speed on a long ride, or is it better to buy a power meter? Whoa, that's two very, very different things. Average speed and a power meter. There's a lot of things in between. First of all, it's not good to look at average speed pretty much ever. Maybe if you have a lap. Sometimes I train on a lap, which is a square. There's no traffic lights. It's very quiet. I don't have to brake and I can do one square and I can see what my average speed is. If there's wind, it always evens out because one section will be tailwind, the other section will be headwind. But still, if it gets windy, your average speed will go down nevertheless. So average speed is not a good way to judge your performance. Then a power meter is, but there's a lot of different things in between. You can use a heart rate monitor to do your training, but getting a power meter is probably the best idea. Quan Hao. How do I go faster around a hairpin in a crit? Well, that depends how you go around the hairpin at the moment. I'm not sure what your level of cornering is, but I think the line is the most important. Turn in late, hit the apex at about 2/3 of the corner, so you can accelerate early. I think that's the quickest way, but it depends on where the rest of the riders are. So always push down on your outside foot and lean in the bike in the corner. What do you use to lubricate your chain? I've got a couple different things, but just regular chain lube. I use some kind of muck off, dry lube stuff. Everything works except WD-40. That's not a lubricant. Delane Pool. What's the best road bike saddle for comfort if weight is no issue? The best saddle is the one that fits you. That's different than the one that fits me. So I cannot answer that question for you. Go to a shop that has different saddles and just try them. Rune Behrens. I'm 15 years old. I play soccer and the new season is closed. He just started riding this year. He was riding the Passo por Dois. He failed. Now I'm really starting to wonder whether I should start cycling or not. Well, Rune, first of all, you're only 15 years old, so you have a lot of time to improve. It's only your first year cycling, and you're going up a big mountain in Italy. Come on, man. Give it some time. Maybe check your gears. Did you have a light gear or not? If you like cycling, go for it. Yannick. How many Casio watches do you own? A couple. I like watches, so I've been collecting them for a lot of years, so, you know, sometimes I buy a new one. Kevin Picerno. How do you stay so big, especially upper body? Most cyclists I know who lift are still super skinny up top. Because most cyclists, they didn't have a 20-year BMX career before they started road cycling. I've been going to the gym from when I was 15, doing strength training now for over 10 years. I've been riding my BMX bike from when I was 5, so it's completely different. And I've not been doing a lot of weights for months, for years actually, and it seems to not go away. I just stay big. I can't help it. I'm already a lot smaller than I was when I was racing BMX, but it's still not going away very fast. Wielergek. In a race, do you mostly pay attention to the wheel right in front of you or just what happens further in front of you? I always look up away further than the wheel in front of you, because if you look at the wheel in front of you, somebody brakes in the front, you're gonna hit it because you're never fast enough to react. So always watch your surroundings. Look in front of you, look behind you, and then look way in the front what's happening. Alright guys, that's it for now. I answered all the questions that were in the Q&A videos. If I didn't answer your question, maybe it's somewhere in another video, and for me it's pretty difficult to find those questions. So post your questions in this video, in the Q&A video, and then I'll answer them in the next one. See ya!